Team owner Dan Snyder's house of cards, as we've shown you so many times, still wobbling there, just one step away from completely crumbling down. We keep showing you all the key players and what is happening, and we know there's been some changes there, at least as it comes to the coaching staff. But what about the investigations? Where do they stand? But more importantly, the sale. Well, speaking of that potential sale, there's a new report that it'll happen weeks following the Super Bowl and the NFL owners meeting in New York in March.
Okay.
Live with us now with the scoop is Charles Gasparino with Fox Business. Charles, good to see you. This is huge because we've heard about this happening. We had heard that it may be early on in the year, but now it starts like we've got some dates, at least relatively speaking. What are you hearing?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I've covered mergers and acquisitions on Wall Street. That's essentially what I cover, that and some other stuff here at Fox Business and, throughout my career at the Wall Street Journal, at CNBC. No deal is done until you see the press release. So just remember that. There's a lot of stuff there are a lot of flies that could get in the ointment that could slow this thing up. But what I do know, and I got this from senior people close to Snyder, people close to the NFL, is that they're eyeing a potential deal, if it's going to get done, between sometime after the Super Bowl and before the owners' meeting. They would like to get this thing done, before the owners' meeting, so they can talk about it at the meeting, and they can essentially approve it. So that's where we are right now. One of the problems, I think, with this deal, we should point out, is that it's not cheap. I mean, we're talking about $6-7 billion. I mean, who are the natural buyers of this? Ira Harris, right? He runs a big sports private equity firm. Josh Harris. Owns the 76ers. Do they have $6 billion of cash around to do this? It's kind of like the New York Mets sale. Like, if anybody was going to do that deal, it was only going to be someone with a lot of bank, like Steve Cohen, the Wall Street trader, who is worth $15 billion. So you start thinking, who has the cash for this? And that's why everybody's talking about Bezos. Now, I know he's throwing Jeff Bezos, the chairman. I guess he's the chairman now of Amazon. He's the founder of Amazon. He's one of the top 5 richest guys in the world, or richest people. He's got that type of cash to basically buy this thing. I know
but there's bad blood there.
I know, and he's thrown some cold water on it. But, this is where I'm hearing from my NFL sources.
So we think that Bezos is back in the conversation, because I think that would be huge.
Is he the leader?
That would be a really big deal.
Here's what they're telling me. He's throwing cold water on it. However, there are people in the NFL who really believe he's going to come in and bid on this thing. Why is that? Well, one reason is his girlfriend is a big football fan. You remember who she used to be married to? She was once married to Tony Gonzalez. So people are putting all this together. And listen, if I was to rank the level of likelihood on all this, I would say they want to get the deal done before the owners' meeting, right after the Super Bowl. He is the guy with the most bank that could do this thing easy if you look at the numbers. Remember, we're talking $6-7 billion. It's a huge chunk of change. Okay, both stuff, and just remember, because I've covered this before, both of these, might not happen because, just deals aren't done until you see the paper. I want to say one other thing. I don't know much of the stuff. I don't cover this regularly. I cover the sports business occasionally. I do know Dan Snyder. I think he's, when I met Dan Snyder, one of the nicest men in the world. And one of the tragedies here, I think, is, Dan loves the Redskins. He grew up a Redskin fan. And it's got to kill him to have to sell this thing.
He's from Maryland. He's from Silver Spring. This is his hometown. And this is, he has a house, a huge house in Potomac.
Gigantic.
And a huge house in Mount Vernon, Virginia. And
Gigantic.
To that point, Charles, do you know anything about this recent sale of his home in Potomac? It would be the largest home sale in Maryland that we know of. Is this, is he trying to find liquidity for any reason? Is he trying to get out of Dodge?
I don't think he needs liquidity. I've heard rumors that he wants to move to London. Why that is, I guess he wants a piece of maybe a soccer team or something, do something different. Listen, I think if you're Dan Snyder, you're looking back, he gets a lot of garbage. He faces a lot of heat. Why does he need it? He and his wife, I met the wife, I met him. I found them to be lovely people. Why do they need the constant glare of this? Although
he
it's
may
still,
need to hire you for his PR army.
yeah,
you may
that's
be the
what I
only
was gonna
person
say.
that's feeling like that.
Charles, we need you to
bipolar.
come to D.C. and say these things because you're the first person I've heard in 25 years say that about Dan Snyder. So way to go.
watching.
Why,
He's
let me
loving
ask you
this.
You guys know, you guys are there. Why do people hate on him so much?
They just do.
You should read into the investigations because there's a number of very serious allegations that I think need to be vetted. But regardless, I think the sale is front of mind. It's a headline. Charles, you've got a scoop there. Keep us posted because, listen, the Super Bowl is right around the corner this Sunday, and then obviously the meeting for the owners in March. Charles Gasparino with Fox Business. We appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Good scoop here in the DMV Zone. We're going to keep talking about it.